This here is the updated Mercedes V-Class Marco Polo, the camping mobile, the compact camper by Mercedes, or glamping mobile maybe. Recently we've shown you the new VW Multivan California T7. This is here the main competitor. Let's see what they've got, how good is it, and how many good features they have for you with kitchen, sleeping, lower and here on the upper roof and so on. I'm Thomas, this is Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. Here with the new front, the V-Class recently had a facelift, and this is here the AMG line. But even the base model would get this micro-star pattern right here. This is a very beautiful feature. Just that the AMG line also gets the illuminated front grille. It's hard to see here in daytime at the moment, but here this like where the LED stripe is going around. And also here in the lower graphic you have it a little bit sportier with this AMG line. New LED lamps, you can also get this multi-beam LED for better high beam performance. Wheels up to 19 inch, you can see them right here in the AMG style. So by that way you can get a sportier look here for your camper van. Yeah. Why not? Designing it a little bit spicier actually. 5 meters 14 or 202 inches is the length here. For the V-Class in general, there's a short wheelbase and the long wheelbase. This is actually built on the short wheelbase, but on the longer version with the longer overhang of the short wheelbase version. Yeah, we're in Scotland here today, and yeah, there are a lot of like small mosquitoes and everything flying around. So we're always thinking like, where are they? So why have they gone for the short wheelbase? It's supposed to be that, you know, a lot of people buy this one here also as a primary vehicle. So you use it with the roof down in normal everyday driving life, go into basement garage and so on. So it shouldn't be too bulky overall. This here, the external power, by the way. And this is here the water tank, which you can easily fill then up from there and close, of course, that no one feels any, you know, garbage in there, for example. And then here towards the rear, you can see they also play with the LED signature, with the facelift, that it looks a little bit more modern overall. And the Marco Polo is always then the camper van version. Here in the rear, I can already show that to you right now. The special thing is that you can always separately open this glass top part. This is actually quite cool, so you can easily load things in and out quickly without opening the whole stuff then. But I can also open the whole stuff right here already. There we go. You can also get this electric hatch. And then you can already see some of the features here underneath then, for example. This is then where the chairs are being stored. There we go. So, there we have it. And oh, this looks like a director's chair, right? So, cut. And different access to the chairs or then even to the table. Here you can fold up this whole thing, then it holds up, then floor mat, and then you can take out the chairs that way. That's also easier possible if you can lift that up, if there's no luggage on top. And here underneath, you also then have the table stored. So put these ones at the side. There we go, and then there's the table underneath. So it's also a clever storage. I have to put it up again to secure them like this and like this. And here, for example, it's also the shower stored here, and then you can put it in like here and also have the outside shower. If you think that's all just fake, no, it's not. So what's pretty cool is you have this smartphone app, so you can not only control from the inside but also from the outside. And then, for example, here, yeah, make sure everything okay. And then you can also just close the retractable roof with the smartphone. You have to hold it. Yeah, so I have to hold it for security reasons. So that's of course a practical feature. You don't have to sit on the inside, you can just control from the outside. And also when putting it up again, for example, then you can watch it from the outside and see, oh, maybe when you're standing under a tree, is there like a branch in the way blocking anything or so. So that is one of the best features, I think, especially then for the roof function. Suspension-wise, you get a base suspension or comfort suspension, optional a sport suspension. Fixed sport suspension would not go for this one because it's just too rough. Then you have the agility control. It's a frequency adaptive damping, so passively adaptive, reacts then to the impact or in the dampers, and optional also equipped with this vehicle here, the Airmatic, that's the air suspension. So best comfort then, and also between sportiness and comfort, you can choose it with the driving modes. And most important here also, if you have the air suspension, especially here for the Marco Polo, there is a self-leveling function that when the camping ground is maybe not leveled, the vehicle then can level itself without, you having to help with some manual, adjustments and so on. So that's a very good feature. Parking brake release, or door also closed. And then we can also show that to you, because then when everything is fulfilled, you hold the camera button here, press and hold it, and then we can show you how it's working. So for example, here now, 5 degrees, this should be evened out. Now let's check it out. So now I'm holding this button and the vehicle should go up then in the rear part, that we then have a level to live in on the interior again. So it's completed, and from the 5 degrees inclination it went down to 3 degrees only. Now we can clearly see here in the front, there we go, suspension is all the way in, and in the rear here suspension is all the way out. I think we can clearly see that now. Now we get to the full interior experience, but of course we start at the rear here, sliding door, also electric available here on this side. The Multivan California also has a sliding door on the other side to also extend the kitchen to the exterior. Here they went, full length with the kitchen. That's why here on the other side there's no secondary door. But we'll experience the kitchen very soon. I really like this, wooden style for. It is not wood, just the styling, but different stylings are available, also a bright or dark interior and so on. And at this moment here, this rear bench is all the way back. And to have this setup here with the front seats here, when you put this, like the front, one of the front seats, or at least beginning with that, a little bit more upward, then it's easier to turn it around. So it's very cool that you can also easily turn them around like this. And then you can have this setup here with the table. You can do the same and also with a driver's seat, for example. Here on the right side, by the way, they can see also USB charging and also the real power plug on the right side. And then for this setup here with the chairs like this and here with the bench, you can then start, for example, here with the inside table like this. You can move that one around, and then we have then here this inside picnic situation. Here the roof at the moment is up, and I also like this bright interior. It brings so much light, especially when it's maybe not such a perfect sunny day. And you can see here, when I stand up inside, can we see that? Yeah. So here I'm 189 and I can easily stand in here, and even up to this area here when the bed is up, and then can, for example, also stand and work on the kitchen right here. Then it's always locked here, so you can put this one up. Then we have 2 gas cookers here. There we go. Right side for the sink. Oh, wow. Oh, there we go. So you can also wash your hands here, for example. So that's possible. And by the way, if you wondered what did they do there, so this is like the top pot. You can take it out, maybe like for doing dishes, or maybe if it's just clean water, also dispose it outside or whatever. And then here, like for the water you have to collect, there is then the real sink underneath. And then of course, when you want to work, you can always close it and then, do some cutting on there and so on. Here, and there's the fridge. There we go. What do you guys like? Some water, Scottish water. Oh, that looks tasty, right? Raspberry crush. You know who I have a raspberry crush on? Yeah, she's filming at the moment. Yeah. So and then we have, of course, more storage. Good showcase here, right side, for example, for cleaning equipment. Then in this case, on the top part, you can have like salt and pepper. Maybe you can put cutlery in there. So then we have to slide the table a little bit further back there. So here we go, and then this then here like for glasses, for whatever you want to store. So this is then all a good example. Actually, here this lower part sliding door, I think. Is it? Yeah. Wait a minute. So that's, yeah. There we go. Yeah, that makes sense. Sliding door, and then here, for example, for the cooking equipment. Yeah, I think it's also really nice that we have this these samples here, how everything is assorted, and more storage right here. Then maybe towards clothing and stuff. There we go, and also here with the mirror. There we go. There's Leah. Make it there we go. So this is actually quite roomy there as for the storage. And then this bench here with the kitchen setup, I would have it all the way back, of course. But then when we want to do some things with the bed there in the lower part, then we can. That must look absolutely dumb, doesn't it? Maybe yeah, like this. So, and then we can begin folding this part here. So here we have the electric folding mechanisms right there. These two actually, and then we can fold this bench backward. We do it first a little bit because then we have to remove the head restraints like this. There we go. And there's also a storage behind. Is it actually possible to film that? So so that's interesting because here we go. So look at that. Here behind, there's actually like these two holes that we can put in the head restraint like this. So they are stored and they don't fly around and so on. And I can do that with the second head restraint as well. There we go. Olias preparing her hair. It's very important to prepare your hair while doing the camera work. Yes, of course. You were very beautiful before. Caught in action. He's like, he's taking longer with these head restraint stuff here and so on. So then do the same with the other head restraint. And then see if that fits. If I calculated everything right, we can put these here back. Takes some time. There's, by the way, like some continuation inside. Oh, forgot to press the second one. Will it fit? Well, I think my calculations were right. Yay. There we go. So this way then everything goes all the way flat. I was thinking, by the way, maybe you can help me with the comments there. So, I mean, when you are with two, then you can think about, do we sleep in the lower part? Do we sleep upward? Maybe when it's really cold, then in the lower part. And isn't it finished? Isn't it supposed to stop the electric motor now? Or what's the problem?
No.
There we go. There we go. I thought like, oh no, now I've totally broken that thing. So, and now we can actually use this topper here. I think it's supposed the other way around, right? There we go. Put away the stuff. So there's two sides. This is here the soft side, so I need to put this one around. There we go. So this is the only episode here with the camper vans where you can see me making up the bed. There we go. And then we have here the full setup with a bed. And it's actually, yeah, not too bad. Here, by the way, these buttons here, they are to remove or put in this continuation in the seat, which is good when you're sitting on them, but when you have the folding flat area here, then you want them all the way out. And then of course you can think about what makes more sense if you lay down like this, or if you turn it around. This of course goes flatter because you have more stuff here in the rear. Yeah, I think maybe like this, right? And because here's also then the upper area if you leave it like this. So yeah, and then you can also listen to music here. Look at that here, the speakers and so on. It's nice also with the Marco Polo badge. Yeah, why not? So I mean, here in the rear, in the lower part, it's actually also quite cozy. So I don't know if I would prefer here the lower part. Maybe when it's really hot in the top and when it's colder here down there. Pretty interesting here, by the way. Here when you press this button, then another storage here on top. That's cool. It's also really lovely done here with the towels and so on. And this drawer in detail here, like this first opening was clear. There we go. Then you can also open it completely like this. This is like the bigger one, I would say. And so here probably then for all the guys, the smaller ones, yeah, the girls usually get the bigger ones in the drawers, we the smaller ones. So there we go, this is the complete unit. By the way, here also, we have this AMG line, and on the interior, you can see here this carbon fiber style as well, cup holders, so then with the ambient lighting. So you can see that if we think about the differences, like the V-Class here, the Marco Polo, is more like, hey, everything's stylish, but at the same time, you know, drawn back a little bit and more serious. And let's say here, high gloss black and so on. Whereas the California is more in this, you know, like traditional, a little bit more hippie style. It's, you know, a little bit more playful, definitely. That's, you know, I see these two differences. Definitely main difference that in the California, you have the second sliding door, for example, which is pro and con. Here they have 2 gas cookers. In California we only have 1. Then again, you have this possibility to go through again. So both definitely have their pros and cons. You should check out the other video later on as well if you haven't seen that yet, actually. So yeah, this is the lower bed. So far I'm quite happy with this. This top has actually a good quality as well. And now of course the thing is with the top one. And of course, we'll show you the cockpit very soon as well. If you have the seat turned around like this in, you know, the full camping setup here, is always a good thing, because when you have the roof down, like the bed down, then you can step on that seat to climb up. So here, by the way, we can also open the sides here to give us a little bit more air. It was also already possible here. Here with the bed, we can demount it right here. And also then on the other side. And then we can fold down this bed right here. Oh, it's already made up here for you. Also here, you can open this window here. Sorry about that. There we go. And this is to be kept closed at this moment, definitely, because... Wait a minute, can you also open that? No. It's like...
I don't think so.
You can... This is like possible in the California, but here it's important to keep it closed because of the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And Leah, what you can maybe show us here? Yeah, you can already climb in.
Oh my god!
So what do you think?
It's cozy, but the headroom is...
Yeah, that's of course a little bit close back there.
But it's very cozy.
What's cool here? This is the mattress, and then underneath we have these, you know, special cushions.
Feel that, yeah.
They are adaptive. Yeah, the California also has that in a similar style. So the top bed will definitely be, you know, more adapting to your body when you're sleeping and so on. So that's actually quite cool. I felt that in the California it was a little bit more spacious in the top here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And also you could open more of the stuff here around you. This is here also to leave some more light in and so on. But I don't see any possibility to open it completely. Actually, here, by the way, you can also, you know, activate some LED lamps when it's getting dark and so on. Pretty bright, right? Maybe take a sleeping position that you can really test. Like, does it adapt to the body? Is that okay? Yeah.
Very good, yeah.
I always love it when Leah also shows us some features, because she's just so much more beautiful than I am. So, oh, there we go. We don't have a sliding door, but we have these windows. Where are the doggos? There were some doggos outside. Haven't seen them recently. So there we go. Also fixed them in between. So that's cool with the windows. And when you want to go to sleep, it's still bright outside, maybe midsummer in the Scandinavian countries. Venli Hilsen to all our Scandinavian viewers. There we go. That's also quite good. You can secure them in the lower part right there. Of course, you can also install inside shades here. They're getting held by the sun blinds, and in the middle part you can open it like this and then store the whole thing again. And if you also want shades for the side, here they are magnetic. So this is actually really quick and practical. Front cockpit, so special with the Mercedes V-Class. It is a commercial platform, basically a commercial vehicle platform, but they try to do it as much passenger-alike as possible, especially here with the very recent facelift, new cockpit. Here you can also have this, you know, carbon fiber style. It's not really carbon fiber, decor element. Then with ambient light integration. My favorite is that the ambient light here, look at that, for example, on the outside. The ambient lighting is also here inside these air vents. That's beautiful. And they also have nice clicking sounds, for example. Glove box is here, also softly dampened and so on. More air vents, and then you have here this touchpad either like this, or you can then use the touchscreen, so also via touch. My favorite is also here. Nice clicking sound for the climate unit, so you can easily control it while driving. Also here for the side doors, for example. Then this is where you put in the driving modes. And there, for example, you can also switch in the air suspension to sport mode and so on. I'm going to show that to you. Lower part, you have these cup holders. This is, by the way, the hard key for the water tank. And then here, this is then for cup holders and more storage for the smartphones and so on. I heard there's also inductive charging available optionally, but at the moment not equipped with this one. New steering wheel here with this hashtag capacitive BS buttons. They give you some feedback. You see, it's like one button field for everything. Here you can also switch different stylings for the instruments, just like with the passenger cars. A sport gauge here for that one. Okay, I mean, why not? Why not? It's okay. Here for the volume, that's like a slider. Yeah, but it works quite good. That's okay. And here in the infotainment system, this is very interesting actually. So the main thing will be here the Marco Polo setting. This is the MBAC. Yo, MBAC. What was it? Mercedes-Benz Advanced Control. I had to look it up. I think it would have been cool, I have to say, Mercedes-Benz Automatic Camping or something. Yeah, right. By the way, meanwhile, I look like, you know, I've been, I don't know, how is it, like a face disco. This is all like this very small mosquitoes here. Yeah, that's the sacrifice for you here today, up in the Highlands. Then let's take a look here at these MBAC controls. This is actually quite cool. So you have all the camping features. You can see how much fresh water, grey water and so on. You can also extend the pop-up roof from here. Living, you can activate sound system, heating, check the refrigerator box on and off, how cold it is. You can activate all the lights from here. That's actually pretty cool. You can see how much battery charge there is. Here, this back mirror, you can also get here with the function to activate the camera. And that way, even if you have everything packed full here, you can still see this camera. And there's also a rear wiper available. You see that here. So when there's rain on the glass, because it sits behind the glass, well, you see like this black shadow with the wiper. You have to get used to that. So sometimes I just wipe it once and then leave it like this again. There can be only one. Yes, that's the first thing to say here when you're in the Highlands. And there can be no autography review without a door closing sound test. That's cool actually. Here, petrol filling cap is, by the way, here. The diesel and also for the AdBlue. There we go. By the way, here also it only opens when door is opened. Then instead of the doors, here also with soft touch, just here in the lower part, there's no covering on the inside, and steering wheel goes up and down, in and out, and the seating position and the ergonomics itself is actually pretty good, so it's quite comfortable. The only thing, this here animals can only seat them in the high trim here in bright or black. However, I would strongly recommend, first of all, it's more animal friendly, better for the environment, to stick with the base fabric seat. It's also way better for the comfort because this surface here is really stiff. The fabric seat will offer you also better comfort. Headroom here is with 189, yeah, still some left. The only thing I highly criticize is here, when you want to control the back part of the seat here, that is manual, and I mean, my hand doesn't even fit here, like my wrist. Also, usually you would do it, I mean, while driving is really dangerous, like with your left wrist, and then maybe you have your watch here. It's like you can hardly reach that. So I'm not sure what they thought about that. That's making no sense at all. This one here, by the way, is the control like for the tilting of the front part. And to show you some variation here, for example, with white exterior color, this is also not the AMG line. You can see here the graphic in the lower part is different. So the AMG has more these horizontal spokes here, but here, still in the baseline, you get these star pattern here. I think that's very beautiful indeed. This is here also with 19-inch wheels, but just not in this black AMG style. And we also have a different interior here, like a different color scheme. First of all, this is also very interesting. Yeah, I should have maybe seen that before. Here, this mosquito net. This is magnetic, actually, like this. I'm not sure. I think it's not from the Mercedes parts bin, but I think it's a very fitting one here. And then you can actually here also open it like this and get inside. And there you can see, first of all, we have a different floor. This has this slate look. It's of course also just plastic, but it has a slate look. And you can get the kitchen with this blue accentuation. Maybe a little bit too much, or what do you think? But at least you have some color options. And even for the inside of the roof, you can see it with that white vehicle there. Here that it's, for example, green from the inside. Not sure if that's the most stylish combination, but you have some choices. Yeah, I would probably just leave it like, you know, black from the inside, from the roof. But the bright one we had earlier was also pretty beautiful. By the way, what's also pretty cool here, this is like a magnetic mat underneath. And then here, these are glasses with magnets underneath, and so they are being held in place that they don't fly around while driving. Under the hood, we have here either rear drive or all-wheel drive for the 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel. Different horsepower specs, around 160, 190, and between 230 and 240 horsepower. This is also the strongest version here for you today. And as I said, rear drive or all-wheel drive. Only the diesel for the Marco Polo. With the new V-Class update, interesting. Must be the Scottish ghosts here around this engine area. Yeah. Okay, back to the engine. So there's also a mild hybrid petrol engine available, 2-liter 4-cylinder for the new V-Class facelift. However, not for the Marco Polo because it's an MHEV petrol engine, and that is mixing up with the battery placement with the Marco Polo version, because here this one doesn't only have a 12-volt normal starter battery, but also another 12-volt camping battery. Interesting is, by the way, when you charge it from the outside, then first the camping battery is being charged and also the 12-volt battery is being charged. That's a clever idea. Welcome to Thomas's driving lounge with the Mercedes V-Class Marco Polo. And first interesting finding here, just cruising around city and so on. It drives relatively normal. It basically just feels like a normal Mercedes V-Class. It's a heavy vehicle already, so this added weight is not something you feel majorly. This one here, equipped with a 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel with over 230 horsepower and also with the Airmatic air suspension. So this gives the best comfort. However, 19-inch wheels mounted here, and the 19-inch wheels, of course, at some point also can reduce comfort. So if you want the best comfort here, because when I'm running through some potholes here, I do feel actually that there are 19-inch wheels on there. For me, of course, here today a little bit unusual, like driving around Scotland. We are on the, for me, wrong side on the road. For our fans in Scotland and England and also Australia, for example, in India, on the right side of the road. So yeah, very interesting experience here when the road is like really, really bad. Then you feel these 19-inch wheels. So I would recommend to you, stick to smaller wheels if you want the best comfort. Other than that, this self-leveling when you put the car stationary is of course one of the major benefits then here when you have the V-Class. You also have a drive mode selector. You can set it here to sport, comfort, manual. And in the sport mode then it is indeed a little bit stiffer. So here, these are the cars passed. Then we can do our first acceleration from 25 mph, so miles an hour today, to 70. Let's go. Stop. That's it. So it's really nice. So that was up to 110 kilometers an hour. So usually you see the kilometers an hour values here on our channel, but today then the miles figure that it also fits to the rest of the environment. Now on the motorway, road is still slightly wet. So we set the cruise control to around 70 kilometers an hour. And it is, not too loud actually here in the front cabin, but since this whole area is open, the most wind noise and echo and so on you hear is from the right door there, from the slide, like not the kitchen side, but the opposite kitchen side. That's the loudest thing you actually hear, especially when it's wet. When it's drier, it's actually more or less okay. Interesting finding for me was also here this camera mirror, for example. That one is well usable because you have a better visibility to the rear. When it's getting wet, however, it gets all blurry, but then again you can apply the wiper, then it gets clean again. But since it goes so quickly over it, you look into the camera and you have like, you know, it's like a black flash or something. Is there a black flash? You know, like usually there are white flashes, right? Are they? Interesting philosophical question. Yeah. Okay, back to the vehicle. Getting off the motorway right here. And now here, like around 60 kilometers an hour, different surface. Then it also gets better from the whole, you know, noise level and so on. And the thing that this vehicle definitely delivers, it does not feel so much van-alike. It does not feel commercial vehicle-alike. You know, with this fancy interior, we have the ambient lighting, we have the infotainment system, then we have the optional air suspension. It feels very much passenger car-like. Yes, it is still louder than a passenger car, definitely, or also like a big Mercedes SUV would be more silent as for the noise level. It's still a difference, but considering here this van segment is very, very good overall, definitely. So it gives you a very nice and floaty feeling. The seating surface, as I said earlier, here these animal skin seats are pretty stiff from the whole surface, so the fabric seats would give you also more comfort. So the best comfort setting would be airmatic air suspension, fabric seats and smaller wheels. Then you have the best comfort, and to me that would be so crucial in this vehicle, because you know, when we two would have this vehicle, we would go like maybe like a long haul, want to have some holidays somewhere and really go for a long trip, and then we would like to have the best comfort setup here overall. And then of course use the kitchen. And would we sleep downstairs or upstairs? Upstairs?
Yeah.
She loves sleep upstairs, yeah. The bed is usually better upstairs. It's just when it's really, really cold, then it might be better to be downstairs. Assistance systems, and we can also go back to the comfort mode here to make more use of that air suspension. So here for the assistance systems, let's see how the car is being kept in the lane. There's also the active lane keeping assist. Since there's no one behind us, no one in front of us, let's see also when I tip is there something like a, no automatic lane change or something, unless it's deactivated. Is it? Settings, assistance, driving, active, no, doesn't seem like it, no, doesn't seem like it, no, it doesn't offer that, but I mean, you can easily also live without it. There's always a hotkey to go back to the GPS menu, by the way, because doing something in the infotainment system, you should at least have the cruise control activated, because it also keeps the distance here. And if the distance is too big for you, you can also set here on the steering wheel to reduce it a little bit. These buttons here at the steering wheel are okay to use. So I do prefer stuff you can really press in, but they do give you some haptic feedback for that. So yeah, that's I think overall more or less okay. Brakes, there you feel the weight of the vehicle, so sometimes you feel, especially when you're driving fast, you have to hammer them a little bit more. But overall you also get the feeling for that. I really like the steering feeling, so now here in this roundabout you can also find out more about that together with me. So here, I have to check what's coming. Yeah, this is like the ground floor then we have. And now we have to go up. This one, yeah. This is, by the way, the blind spot monitor warning, car next to me. And when I'm setting the turning indicators and there's still someone left, then there's also the additional acoustic warning. This, it's also a very crucial assistance system, definitely. And here the steering feel is really very nice. It's very smooth. You don't have to give it much strength or something. At the same time, it's really precise. So also small steering commands are, translated onto the road. At the same time, it's not overreacting. And is it actually changing here, sport mode? Slightly. So yeah. So you have a little bit more steering resistance then in the sport mode. I think it's a good decision. In the comfort mode, it's a little bit softer. Now again, by the way, it's like a little bit of water spray on the road, and then I can use the rear wiper, and it just looks so funny in that digital back mirror then. But then it's clean again. So sometimes I feel it's the best solution to sometimes use the wiper, then leave it in place again. This diesel here is probably the best engine for this vehicle. There is now also for the V-Class in general a mild hybrid petrol engine available, new with this facelift here. However, that is not available for the Marco Polo, not for the camper version. There you can only get the diesels, and yeah, the highest horsepower spec will also do you the best service, as you saw on that acceleration, because you have a lot of weight, and sometimes you maybe have these situations where you need a little bit better acceleration onto a motorway or something. Now getting off the motorway here, the car, although it is heavy, doesn't lean too much to the sides, so it also stays relatively stable. The air suspension also is doing a good job doing that for sure. Yeah, we have some stuff lying around here behind us. That's why it's sometimes making the bad sound. So when we got into the vehicle there, everything was raining all over the place. That's why we needed to put it right there in just in the back area. Of course, not to be recommended, but it's the most important thing is that you leave stuff on the low ground. But best, of course, to put it then in the back trunk there. But overall, I think it's really nice to have this real passenger kind of feeling. I think a very relaxed ride. If you then take these additional, configuration measurements I told you about for best comfort, then you even have a more comfortable driving experience. So overall, I think, especially for traveling, no problem. Let's go. And towards the end of our drive, we can also tell you more about the final consumption, which will more or less stay as the way as it is right here. So I can already tell you so far. Yeah, it's about sorry about that. 7 liters on 100 kilometers. So like 31 mpg US, like 40 mpg UK. I think overall is also an acceptable result for a vehicle of that size and for this kind of vehicle. Pricing, entry price is a German reference price, 70,000 euros. When you spec everything, airmatic, all the tech features on the inside, automatic roof, and so on, then you get to 100,000 euros for this vehicle here as it stands right now. The thing is that even with the base version, you have the kitchen and the beds, lower and top one. There is like no completely like naked version or something. The Marco Polo will always be in the base version, even somewhat like this. But then of course, as we know from Mercedes, it easily gets even more expensive. In the direct comparison, the V-Class Marco Polo versus the VW Multivan California, I found the California a little bit more joyful on the interior, a little bit more, let's say, individual features you can use. Then this one here, double gas cooker, so better for cooking, and the concept here with the one sliding door but longer kitchen. Multivan California, shorter kitchen, but then you can also kind of like extend it to the outside because you have the second sliding door. That's the main difference, and that in the California you can open the whole top part, whereas here that's not possible. You can only leave some more light in there. These are two main differences. So I feel from this whole interior concept, I felt like a little advantage to the VW Multivan California. But driving-wise, this one, with the optional air suspension, driving-wise here the V-Class gives more comfort. And of course the self-leveling system here with the air suspension when you're standing on the camping ground is also a very, very cool feature. You should now directly compare the latest Multivan California video or more V-Class content.